on the computer. Step over here quick. Hello, everybody. Let me know if you have any problems hearing me. I'm Kate. I'm the education specialist at Harmony Co-op, and welcome to our Zoom Keto Baking class. This is really exciting, and not just because I got to sample what we're going to bake, but this is Amy Dubray. You may know her from our deli. She makes some really great keto baking treats there. So she is going to demonstrate and show us how to make some really fantastic muffins, and she'll probably have some tips for us. And let's give her a big virtual hand. Yay!
Well, thank you. I feel like, I can just hear it reverberate, the virtual hand. Anyway, welcome to my second baking class. So excited to be here. Always excited to share kind of my passion with others. And of course, my passion is making things delicious that aren't going to harm my body in any way, shape, or form. I always like to kind of start with, well, I'm Amy Dubray. I work in finance in the day, and by night I bake, and I bake almost every night, and I love it. It's kind of a stress release. I have celiac disease, and as a person that has celiac disease, I've had all sorts of health issues over the years. So I've been on a quest to try to figure out how to eat that makes me feel good, that doesn't harm my body, and to find tasty things, especially baked goods, because I've had a sweet tooth all of my life.
I've got to figure out how to turn up the sound, if you don't mind.
Oh, sure.
So just give me one moment while I futz with the
technical issues.
All right, I think we've got that, and I will get the remote and turn it up on here.
Great.
Hopefully this will help. Sorry about the technical issues.
That's okay.
All right, hopefully that'll be better, and we'll try and be as loud as we can.
Can you guys hear me? We're good to go? All right. See if there's anything in the chat that we need to pay attention to here. All right. Are we good? They can hear?
Thumbs up. All right, thank you.
Great. Thank you guys for being patient. Anyway, so as a person with celiac disease, which is an autoimmune condition, I have to watch pretty much everything I eat. And it's just, again, made me really interested and motivated to find good and healthy things. So I do bake and provide keto cookies and muffins in the Harmony Deli here. So if you guys are local, feel free to come and get some of those. I can't really ship if you're not local, but sorry about that, maybe someday. Anyway, today I chose to do a lemon blueberry keto muffin. I chose this for two reasons. Most people I know, anytime you combine lemon and blueberry, we have happy people. Those seems like a combination that most everybody likes. So we're gonna put this in today. It is not a vegan muffin. I do make vegan baked goods, but this one is not vegan. This one has eggs, and it has dairy, and it has a lot of dairy. So if you have issues with dairy, you can substitute almond milk or coconut milk, something of that nature. If you don't like eggs, you can also use flaxseed in water. That's called a flax egg, and that also allows for the binding that occurs, and protein, omega-3s inside your product. So all of these things lead to moist products that stick together, gluten-free, difficult for things to stick together. But the way that we do it, the way that this recipe is and the other ones that I put together, things tend to congeal and stay moist. So anyway, with that being said, we will go ahead and start. If you are cooking along with me today and you have any questions, please just raise your hand on Zoom here, and we'll get to you and answer any questions. Don't feel bad about interrupting. I'm good with all of that. I'm happy to help and answer any questions. Okay, so do they have the recipe? Do you know?
I emailed the recipe to everybody, and we've had it cards. If anybody does not have the recipe, it is available on the Facebook event page for this site.
Okay. So we are going to start with 4 tablespoons of butter. We have a question here.
It's still difficult to hear.
Okay, let's see if you can fix that.
Yeah, turning it up as much as we can, unfortunately, so.
Okay. All right, so I'll hold up what we're gonna do here. Okay, so we're gonna use 4 tablespoons of butter. You can just measure that right on the stick. I've already done so in my my measuring cup. So I just melt in my measuring cup. So 4 tablespoons of butter. We're gonna take a cream cheese packet and we're gonna do 4 tablespoons of cream cheese. You can just cut this simply in half. That's good enough. So it's, you know, I'm not ever perfect in my measurements, and that leads to it. I did tablespoons, but it's going to be a lot easier. Just cut it in half and put it in that same bowl. And then we also want to do our coconut oil. So 2 tablespoons of coconut oil. You can get the pre-melted coconut oil. I don't think it's as good. And I also like to use virgin coconut oil. I find it to taste a lot better than the more processed type. So this is a good brand, Nutriva, or I guess it's Nutiva coconut oil. All right, so you want to put all of that into your bowl, or your mixing, your measuring cup here, and put it in the microwave, minute and 15, something of that nature. Put a cover on top of it so it doesn't explode. That happened to me, and you don't want that to happen, so put a little cover on top of it. And watch it, of course, to make sure you don't overcook it. So we're going to take that and we're going to dump it right into our mixing bowl. It's best to have a stand-up mixer. It's actually what I use at home. It's a little bit loud, and you're already having trouble hearing me. But it's best to do this with a stand-up mixer or a handheld mixer to get it really smooth. So I'm going to use a whisk, but if I were at home, I would be using my KitchenAid. So keep that in mind. So I'm going to again mix here first. 4 tablespoons of butter, 4 tablespoons or half of a block or brick of cream cheese, and 2 tablespoons of coconut oil. I'm just going to mix. Here's where the mussels come in. Again, that could be mixed a little better, but hopefully if you do it at home, you'll use the handheld mixer or the stand-alone KitchenAid. Anyway, so next we are going to, let's see here, we're going to add the sour cream and the powdered sugar. And so the sour cream is going to be a 1/4 cup. And this is lovely sour cream. I don't know what kind of sour cream you guys use. I actually make my own at home, but it's Nancy's probiotic sour cream. It's just a really nice product. All right.
How do you make your own sour cream?
It's basically just buttermilk left over.
It's a question on the chat. How do you make your own sour cream?
I just take buttermilk and I just actually let it sit and cream at room temperature, and it turns about a day and a half. It turns into sour cream.
Really?
Super easy. It's absolutely delicious. It's runnier than this is, but I think it's delicious. So yeah. Another thing I've wanted to do for a while is to, I'm trying to find there it is. I wanted to make cheese, like fresh mozzarella.
Oh, wow.
And I've watched videos, but I haven't actually done it yet. So if any of you have made fresh mozzarella and have had good luck, send a message. All right, so I'm going to mix the sour cream and our sugar replacement. I discussed sugar replacements last time, and so if you attended my first session, and this is a review for you, I apologize, but I want to talk about it because it's so important. A lot of people hate sugar substitute, no matter what kind of sugar substitute it is. If you are that person who does not like to use sugar substitute, you can also get away with keto baking by using real maple syrup. You know, and use it typically for any baked good that has about 2 cups of flour, any type of flour. I will use about a half a cup of real maple syrup. It has the lowest glycemic index of any other sweetener that's natural, so you can get away with it. You'll have a few more carbs, but if artificial sweeteners or any sweeteners don't work for you, then that would be an alternative. This is probably my favorite product. This is Swerve. I don't find that it has an aftertaste, but I'm not sensitive to it. I suppose some people probably would. But I find it to, first of all, it's almost like for like in terms of the measuring amounts. But it's super sweet, so you got to kind of play with it if you make something that's too sweet or not sweet enough. But it doesn't have that afterbite, and I really like that about this product. I'm going to share another product with you here too. This is my second favorite. This is L'Encanto monk fruit sweetener, and this is from the monk fruit. There's also, however, erythritol in it, so again, there's still artificial sweetener in here, but the bulk of it they get from the monk fruit. 0 calories, 0 carbs, and it measures exactly like regular sugar. It's granular, you know, just like regular sugar. I have found that it does not absorb as much. So I have found that when I use this kind of sweetener, you really have to mix it in well, because sometimes it will stay granular. So make sure that if you're using monk fruit sweetener, this brand, you really mix it in well. Are they able to hear me? Are we good?
Yep. Will you spell the name of the first sweetener?
Yes, the first sweetener is Swerve. SWERVE. If you're local, you can get that here.
Yep, we'll show you right where it is.
They have all the different options. So this is confectioner's, so powdered sugar, but they also have it in the granular option, and they also have brown sugar. The brown sugar is delicious. The brown sugar substitute in the Swerve brand. So again, this is my favorite brand. And then the monk fruit sweetener would be my second. What was it? Splenda. I mean, I don't want to say anything bad about any product, but I don't like it. I feel like it's super bitter, and you probably won't be as pleased with your keto product if you use that. So I'm just gonna be honest. I don't use it. These two are much better options. Okay, are we good?
Yep.
Okay. So now that I spoke a lot, I got to go back and look at my amounts here. So we have 3/4 cup of Swerve. So I'm going to use a 1/2 and a 1/4.
Want me to open the other bag?
What was it?
Open the other bag.
I think I'm good. Okay, yeah, I think I'm good. So there's a 1/2, and I'm going to fill this one up to a 1/4. So I have to tell you, when I bake at home, I don't use any of this stuff. So I always feel a little clunky with it because I throw things in, and usually it works out, and sometimes it doesn't. But I get in a hurry, and that's how I do it. Okay, so then we're going to blend this next all together. Again, using all those muscles, and that's what we have. It's nice and glossy and creamy. All right, then we're going to put our eggs in. And again, if you are doing it with the mixer or with the KitchenAid, put it up and do kind of one egg at a time. It actually does turn out better if your eggs are room temperature, as long as all your other products are room temperature. I do find that that does help. If I don't have time, I just do it cold, but I do like the room temperature idea. I find that so if you can put all of your, even your milk ingredients, your milk-based ingredients out and let them come to room temperature, you're going to have a better bake. Okay, so one egg at a time. Got nice farm fresh eggs. I was sharing that I have lots of chickens at home, and for some reason they aren't laying this year. They have laid every winter, and I have new chickens, so it's not like they're too old, for those of you who know that chickens lay less as they get older. Minnesota winter has not been too terrible, and yet my ladies are letting me down. So for the first time in 3 years, I've had to buy eggs. It's been quite unpleasant, but I have dealt with it. The eggs here are really good. I just bought some this evening. Okay, third egg going in. And by the way, that sour cream is equal parts buttermilk and cream. You can also use milk, but cream makes it a little thicker. Nice and beautiful and glossy. So next, we're going to use our lemon and our vanilla. And I'm going to be kind of naughty here, and I'm just going to do a little douse of vanilla. So you can measure it exactly if you'd like. I'm going to put just about enough in. There we go. And let's see here. But I'll let you know how much vanilla was. I can see. Oh, one tablespoon. I can put a little bit more in. There we go. And then we're going to do the juice of one lemon. I do like this action here. I don't know if you use that for juicing lemons. I find it to be way easier than doing it fully by hand. Then you don't get any of those seeds in there at all. Another half. I love lemon and blueberry together. In fact, I've made these so I could practice for about 2 weeks. So I've had them every single morning for breakfast for 2 weeks. And I'm not sick of them yet, so I guess that's a good sign. And because there's no sugar in them, and there's just a ton of protein, fiber, I just feel good. You know, I feel good it sets me up for the whole day. Literally, there's like 2 grams of carbs in here. Depending on the size of your muffin, there's probably about 150 calories. I watch both calories and carbs. Okay, I'm going to pour my lemon in. It's the juice of 1 lemon. All right. Mix that up next. It smells good. You smell that? Oh, I can smell that vanilla. So good. Okay. If I forgot to tell you at the beginning of this, of course, we're going to put our oven on to 350. So we already did that, but your oven needs to be on at 350 and ready to go when these are all ready to pop in there. So forgot to mention that, but oven at 350. All right, so next we're going to get another bowl and we're going to put our dry ingredients. So I'm going to get this bowl here. I'm going to start with my almond flour, and our almond flour we are looking at, I believe it's 1.
That's the coconut flour.
Oh,
almond flour is not.
oh, sorry, thank you, appreciate that. So, sorry guys, my almond flour is in a bag like that. So we're gonna use almond flour 1 1/4 cups. If you want to, you can sift your almond flour. This is already pretty well sifted, so I'm not gonna be too concerned about that, but you can do that. I've seen some people that do it, some don't. I usually don't. I did actually a sugar-free macaron, one of the French macarons, and I sifted my flour for that. So with 1 1/4 cup of almond flour, any kind will do. You can even make your own almond flour in a food processor with almonds. It's much chewier, but it's less expensive, and well, you did it all in your own name too. Okay, so 1 1/4 cup of almond flour, and then next we're going to go with our coconut flour. 3 tablespoons of coconut flour. All right, so I need another tablespoon. Is there another tablespoon or just a big spoon? This one has sour cream on it. Thank you, dear. All right, so we're going to do 3 tablespoons of coconut flour. If I don't have coconut flour and I only have almond flour, I will just add more almond flour. So in my opinion, these 2 flours can be interchangeable. Some people can't do almonds. If you can't do almonds, you can do a pure coconut flour baked good. It's not going to taste the same, but it's not necessarily bad. I've done both. I prefer a blend of almond and coconut flour, but again, some people are allergic to any kind of nut, so then you'd want to use the coconut flour. It's fun to test it out too. I mean, I love testing all the different flours and whatnot for the grain-free kind of cooking. So, all right, we're also going to do a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and then we'll put our baking powder in as well. So I'm going to do a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, which is going to be half of this one. And then we're going to do our baking powder. And our baking powder is 1 1/2 teaspoons. So again, this is a pretty good baking powder. I prefer Bob's Red Mill actually. I find that if I use some of the regular baking powders that you get in the other grocery stores, for some reason it makes me sick. I don't know if it's tainted with gluten, but this one tends to be, I don't get sick with this one. So that's why I use this one as well. So 1 1/2 teaspoons of baking powder. There's 1 1/2. Okay, let's just go through our ingredients and make sure we got them all. Yep, dry ingredients, we have them all. I'm going to just use this little spoon and mix those together. We don't want to have one big bite of baking powder. That never tastes good. All right. And that would be another reason to sift if you like to sift. But again, I'm not a sifter, so I don't usually do that. Okay, now we're going to combine the dry and the wet ingredients. Again, if you're doing this with a mixer at home, you just want to put those dry ingredients in a separate bowl and then put them right into the KitchenAid or whatever you're using. But this seems to be working, doing it by hand. Doesn't need to be too terribly mixed. It comes together pretty easily. Okay, now we're going to fold in our blueberries. So we have 1 cup of blueberries. Our blueberries are frozen. You can absolutely use frozen blueberries, not a problem at all. You can use fresh too if you want to. Either way, they're going to be fine. So we have 1 cup of blueberries. This is all faded, let me guess. A little extra blueberry never hurt anyway, right?
Sure not.
All right, make sure you're nice and gentle with the mixing of your blueberries. You don't want to smush them too much. If you have a frozen blueberry like these are, your mixture is going to be much more colorful than if you have fresh blueberry, obviously, because the frozen ones have a little bit more residual juice inside of the packet. But again, nothing wrong with that. So nice and gentle, kind of folding it in. And I'm going to start with this. Right. Okay, I'm just going to double check and make sure we have everything. So always a good idea when we're baking to go through our ingredient list and make sure we didn't forget. So we have our almond flour, our blueberries, our confectioner's sugar, our coconut oil, our butter, our cream cheese, our eggs, coconut flour, baking powder, coconut oil, lemon, vanilla extract, salt, and sour cream. The other thing I was going to mention, these are not super lemony. If you want an extra bite of lemon, just go ahead and get some lemon extract and put a little bit of that aside. You know, maybe like a teaspoon or something like that. That'll definitely increase the taste of lemon that you get. There is enough for me, and we have to remember that we have lemon that's going to be in the drizzle as well. However, if you really like lemon, that's what you would want to do. So just so you have that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and put these in our little baking sheet. And I like using a scoop. I always use a scoop when I am baking. I find it to be less messy and more even. So I'm just going to fill up until it's about full. Put it over there and let her rip, just like that. Okay, nice and neat. Nothing is out on the outside of it. Everything is pretty uniform. And we'll just fill those up. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know what those are now. This product, I have used it to where I let it sit on the countertop when it's done and baked. And I've also kept it in the refrigerator. It kind of depends on what you like. I would suggest rewarming them anyway in the microwave for 20 seconds before you eat them. I eat them cold though too, in room temperature. I think they're delicious in every way. Kate had one that's been room temperature.
It was excellent, by the way.
I just love that. I don't have to pay her to say those, and I great. She just spontaneously thinks they're wonderful.
Yep, sure did.
I enjoy when people like my baking. It brings me a lot of happiness. Uh-oh, we don't need to answer that. I have a niece that gets really into the keto baking too. She's kind of adopted a healthy lifestyle, so we always share things back and forth. And 2 nights ago, I made sugar-free pavlova that looks like a little bird's nest with a lemon curd inside, a sugar-free homemade lemon curd, and that was delicious.
Will you show us all the ingredients list, please?
You bet. Now I have it on my phone, so how should we do that?
The ingredient, this is Kate, I'll stay off camera, but the ingredients, the recipe is available on the Facebook event page. I uploaded it as an image, and so it is available there as well.
And I suppose I could put my phone up there close, because I have a picture of the ingredients. Let's see here. Yeah, can they see that?
Not super.
Wait, no, they can't really.
Not super well.
Okay, so Kate, can you go ahead and like email or put it up there, something like that? I can
email it to people. We also have physical recipe cards available here at the store. I'll have them back by the wellness desk if anybody wants to stop in. Otherwise, that is downloadable on Facebook.
And then if any of you would like to get a hold of me to ask any questions, you can just email me, amy.dubray, amy.dubray, the number 1 at hotmail.com. And I am more than happy to answer any questions for you. And I like to get every last bit out of here, so I don't like to waste. And I just made a mess. So I'm going to scrape it down and make sure that we have every last bit out of there. Don't want to waste any of that. Okay, I am going to put it in the oven, and I'm going to do about I'm about to do about 25 minutes. So here we go. Thank you. And you want to make sure and check them. I would check them about 20 minutes. You don't want the top to get too overly brown. Last night when I was baking the ones that I'm going to show you now for to put the drizzle on, they're a little too brown in my opinion, but they're still absolutely delicious. So, so next we're going to do the lemon drizzle. And this drizzle is what takes this muffin from a morning muffin to really a dessert. So it's super, super good. So I'm going to get another bowl. And then is there another whisk? I think I saw one there. Okay, thank you. So for the drizzle, talk about easy. It is one lemon, the juice of one lemon, and 1 cup of the confectioner's sugar. So we're gonna juice another lemon. Put that in there first. Okay, I'm just gonna do it right on top of here. You can use lemon juice, the stuff you buy in the store in the little container. That's probably fine. Probably going to want to use, I would say, 1/2 cup or less. You can taste it and whatnot, but you can use that, and I do if I don't have a lemon at home. I oftentimes just use my little lemon that I buy and keep in the refrigerator. If you do want to email me, I would love to hear what you guys, your journey and kind of where you're at in the keto process or the low carb lifestyle. It was just called low carb for years. And of course, now it's called keto. And I like to say I was keto when keto wasn't cool, but I just call it low carb until it was, came out to be this keto situation, but whatever. As long as people are doing more of it, that's all I care about, because it does tend to be healthier. What I don't do, and what a lot of the keto stuff lifestyle has in it, is a really high fat diet. I don't do a super high fat diet. I mean, I probably do a moderate fat diet. I don't eat a lot of cheese. These have the cream cheese and the creams in them and whatnot. But throughout the day, this is probably the most fat that I get out of any one meal if I'm, with all the different creams in this particular product. Some people really on the keto lifestyle will increase their fat dramatically. And it does help to reduce hunger, especially if you're just starting. Getting off of carbs, getting off of sugar is a process. It's like an addiction, and it's really unpleasant for about a week or even 2. And so to substitute for that unpleasantness, I think sometimes people increase the amount of fat that they take in. And again, in the short term, 6 months or so, I don't think it's bad. In the long term, I don't think adding a tremendous amount of fat to your diet is actually great for you. So I'm not a medical doctor, and so of course I don't have that. This is just my own experience and practice over a period of years with it. So keep that in mind. All right, so we have the lemon, and now we're going to do more confectioner's sugar. So 1 whole cup is going to go into this drizzle. So again, we're using that same Swerve product. And you're going to be kind of surprised, at least I was when I first made this, how smooth just these 2 products just what a beautiful drizzle it makes. I mean, it really is, you know, I just was surprised because it's smooth, it's glossy, super lemony, of course, very sweet. Really adds a nice bite onto those muffins. As I said, it makes it into more of a dessert versus a breakfast item. Okay, so can you see that? I don't want to pour it out. All right, so we're gonna let that sit. Now, I would let that sit for the whole time I'm baking my muffins, but for the purpose of our time here, I have some muffins that I made last night, and we'll go about putting the drizzle on there. So let's get a little plate going, Kate. Do we have a little plate so I don't make a huge mess? Thank you so much. All right, so there's a couple of ways that you can do this. The first way, so this is the finished product. And I'm just gonna actually go ahead and take one out of this little, now you don't have to do this, you could just do, and this one kind of is falling apart there. So I am actually, so I'm gonna take another one out. I'm gonna do this without the muffin liner. You can absolutely do it with a muffin liner. In fact, I'll do 2 with and 2 without, just to kind of show you. All right, that one worked out better. So there we have one of my little muffins without the liner on them. Now keep in mind, again, we're looking at about 2 net carbs. Looking at about 150 calories. So if you think about it, you have 2 of these for breakfast. That's 300 calories and 4 carbs, and they're quite satisfying. So it's a wonderful option to have, and literally I have a muffin like this for breakfast every single morning. So, and sometimes if I'm busy, I'll have one at lunch too, if I don't have enough time to make my lunch. So I am going to actually put this in a little piping bag. You don't have to do this. I'm going to do a piping bag for, 2, and then I'm just going to take and drizzle it with a spoon for 2, just to give you an example of both. And the reason that I did this, and so I used kind of a longer tip here, is because I'm actually going to infuse a little bit inside as well. So that's why I did it. So I'm just going to put a little bit in there. What did I do that for? Can you believe I did that? Oh, okay. So I'm going to go ahead and just put it in and then drip it around. And I spilled it. So I'm going to just put the rest of it right on here. And so again, what I did, and you want to do this to where it's actually kinked before you put it in there. Don't make my little rookie mistake. So kink it, and while it's still kinked, then stick it right in, let it go, and then move it around. That's the best way to do it. I didn't do that, learn from me. Okay, and then we're just going to do 2 here. And I'm just going to take a little bit of this drizzle, and I'm just going to drizzle it on top. Does not need much because it's pretty strong, pretty sweet, and pretty lemony. All right, so Kate, would you like to have a bite?
I would be delighted to.
Come. All right, the professional taster Kate with my big mess. We'll cover that up and pretend it didn't happen.
I see nothing. I only see the muffins.
All right, so here she is. Go ahead. It's going to be drippy. It's nice to have this also if you eat it on a plate with a fork. That's actually how I usually
do that. But this is really fun.
Is the drizzle good?
Excellent.
Good. I'm gonna have a bite too. That is good. So the sweetener on top, the lemon drizzle, is really sweet. If you don't want it that sweet, you either add more lemon or decrease the amount of sweetener. I bet you can actually get away with a half to 3/4 cup versus the full half. I would definitely try that because I feel like it's just a bit too sweet, just my own terrible critic here, but just in terms of the drizzle. But it is absolutely delicious. As I say, it's like a dessert, a great breakfast.
I would be delighted to start my day off with 1 or 2 of those.
With coffee.
Yes.
So delicious.
And there really is not any appreciable aftertaste. And I do not count carbs, I don't count calories, I just eat food and the tastes like any delightful bakery muffin.
And so that's really important. And that's why I say this product has less of an aftertaste. If you use Splenda, you will have a bitter aftertaste and it's not, I just don't think it's very pleasant. I find that this has zero aftertaste, so as well. So either one, but those are absolutely, I think they're fantastic. But and I guess hopefully Kate does too.
Yes,
and I hope that you all make these. I hope that you all try more and to incorporate more keto baking and keto lifestyle products into your lifestyle. I will tell you that it has absolutely changed my life, and passionate to share that with others. So thank you so much for having me.
Yay!
Yes,
Thank you for making me tasty food.
You're welcome. And please, as I said, email me with any questions. Ask Kate. She'll get the ingredient list up there. And enjoy February. If you're in Minnesota, enjoy the cold. And if you're not, enjoy wherever you're at. Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you. Well, if you don't like how granulated the sugar in the red bag is, you can put it in a food processor. Yeah, yes you can.
What did she say?
Oh, she said if you don't like how granulated the sugar in the red bag is, put it in a food processor.
There you go. That will absolutely decrease that granulation inside of the product. That's a really good idea. Anything else? Any other questions?
Any other questions? Or... All right, well, thank you for joining us, and I'm gonna
every
stop
single
recording.
time I have an issue with my frosting. Every single time.